Amusement. Let's clarify our concept of amusement. I'm going to jump right in with a proposed definition. Human activity that's desired or pursued for its own sake because it's pleasant or diverting, but not with a deeper seriousness. Again, human activity that's desired for its own sake or pursued for its own sake because it's pleasant or diverting, but not with a deeper seriousness. There's something very interesting about amusement in this aspect of it having a desirability in itself. Aristotle makes a big major distinction in human actions between those where they're desirable for their own sake versus an action that's desirable for the sake of something else that you get out of it. Something like building, great human action, but it's not desirable for its own sake, but because of something that would come out of it. Right? But if someone is riding down a roaring roller coaster going, woo, as they go down, you're not gonna say, excuse me, why are you doing that? Or someone's driving a sports car, like, what are they doing over there? It's obvious why they're doing this. It's fun. It's amusing. So it's kind of desired for its own sake. You're not doing this well because there's something else I want to get to. It's clearly something just I want to do in some sense for its own sake. So watch how Aristotle is going to ask one of the most important questions in human life, and it's going to bring up amusement and give us a further insight into it, help us clarify our concept of it. When he wants to know what the end of man is, the kind of activity in which human life is most fulfilled, when human nature is most flourishing, what kind of activity? He says, well, clearly it's going to have the characteristic of being desirable for its own sake. So he says, let's start looking at actions that are desirable for their own sake. Amusement, pretty clearly that's desirable for its own sake. And wait, here's something else that is interesting that seems to be a sign that it may be what human happiness consists in. Look at the wealthy, the powerful. What do they tend to choose to do? Often they choose amusement. And so Aristotle says, this is interesting. If people, when they are able to choose, in some sense, to do whatever they want to do, again, think wealthy and powerful, they tend to choose the fun, amusing things. Maybe that's a sign that this is kind of where life's fulfillment most of all is, and it's desirable for its own sake, So Aristotle says maybe that's the fulfillment of human life. But then he comes back with 2 points. He says, but wait a second, this doesn't feel right, does it? And maybe the wealthy and the powerful aren't necessarily the class of people that you're going to go to make this judgment. Not that he's saying that they're all bad, but just because many of them choose amusement doesn't mean that necessarily means that they're choosing well. For children, he points out, tend to think that amusement or other such things are really, really important. That doesn't mean you'd follow their judgment. Maybe, he says, those people are like children, those older ones who build their life on amusement. Then he follows up by saying, and wouldn't it be strange if you have to endure a lot of hardships in life, all for the sake, ultimately, of being able to amuse yourself? So he says clearly, human fulfillment, flourishing, must be in some more serious activity. Well, what would that serious activity be? Well, that's where Aristotle is going to come back to his notion of leisure. But now this helps us focus here again on what amusement is all about. He's pointed out that there are numbers of people who will just say, human life is about amusement. I'd put it this way. They don't make a distinction between amusement and leisure. In other words, basically, amusement, leisure time, same. Kind of free time of pursuing just kind of fun, diversion, things that are pleasant. When people don't see some other kind of activity that you could do with your free time, that Aristotle is going to call leisure, when they basically just see amusement, which again, we all have a sense of what amusement is. I think we all pretty much agree. There's this human activity, this desirable for its own sake, because it's pleasant or diverting, but doesn't have much of a deeper seriousness. Then let's return to a question we raised in our video on leisure, where we set up, there's 2 main ways of looking at the relationship of leisure and work. And some will hold that your leisure free time is for the sake of work, and some go the other way. you can go, if those who identify leisure and amusement, in other words, make no distinction, watch, they can go either way on that question. The only kind of leisure there is the fun amusement. So they see that as maybe the most important. So work is for the sake of amusement. Amusement they see as the most important. So work serves amusement. Or people who just don't make a distinction between amusement and leisure, they say, hey, amusement, hey, it's fun, but it's not serious enough. It's not what life is about. Work, clearly that's more serious. Work is what life's about. So amusement is for the sake of work. So then work is the dominant thing in life, and over here you have amusement. Or you have those who hold amusement as the dominant thing in life, and over here is work serving it. What I would suggest here is that when you just see amusement as not having any distinction from leisure, you then get either one of those answers, both of which are a tyranny. You have a tyranny of amusement. Everything serves amusement. It's all for the sake of amusement. Or everything serves work because there's nothing serious enough to divert us from work. So at the end of the day, work is what's most serious. Then you have the tyranny of work. Remember, tyranny always means something's ruling, something's taken as most important that shouldn't be. That's a tyranny. In conclusion, how is Aristotle going to have us see amusement differently? Hey, amusement's great. Amusement has its place, but there's something else called leisure. And when you see this other thing called leisure, then it's going to allow us to put amusement and work in their proper places with no tyranny. To address that, one more video, real leisure and amusement and work. In that one video, I'm going to try to bring together Aristotle's answer to that issue. Hope this has helped you think a little more clearly about amusement and its place in life.